Intermittent carbohydrate intake, often practiced through carb cycling, offers a sophisticated method for aligning human nutrition with our evolutionary rhythms, where periods of scarcity and abundance once alternated naturally. Rather than adhering to strict low-carb or high-carb regimens indefinitely, cycling between them allows for a dynamic metabolic response that supports both energy production and cellular repair. One of the most compelling benefits of this approach is its ability to keep autophagy responsive and flexible, encouraging cleanup when needed, but also supplying nutrients to rebuild afterward. By toggling between low-carb and moderate-carb days, the body is gently pushed into a rhythm of deconstruction and reconstruction, not unlike the rest and growth cycles in strength training or sleep. At the heart of this process is metabolic flexibility, the ability of cells to switch smoothly between using glucose and fat for fuel depending on availability. On low-carb days, glycogen stores deplete, insulin levels drop, and nutrient-sensitive pathways like AMPK are activated, all of which promote autophagy. This nutrient stress signals the body to conserve resources, clean up damaged components, and make energy production more efficient. Mitochondria are refreshed, misfolded proteins are degraded, and inflammation often subsides. These effects are particularly beneficial in tissues like the liver, muscles, and brain, where excess cellular clutter can impair function and increase disease risk. However, maintaining this low-carb, low-insulin state indefinitely can, for some individuals, lead to diminishing returns. Over time, chronically low carbohydrate intake, especially without adequate refeeding phases, may suppress thyroid function, reduce leptin, and lead to hormonal imbalances, particularly in women. Muscle glycogen can also become chronically depleted, impairing performance and reducing the anabolic signals that stimulate tissue regeneration. That's where intermittent carbohydrate intake shines. It introduces brief windows of abundance that restore hormonal signaling, replenish glycogen, and temporarily activate mTOR, a key driver of growth and rebuilding that autophagy alone cannot fulfill. The strategic use of a moderate carb refeed day, perhaps every third or fourth day, brings insulin and mTOR levels up just enough to remind the body that it is not in prolonged starvation. This reduces the risk of metabolic slowdown, preserves lean mass, and maintains robust energy output, all while keeping autophagic cycles intact. Importantly, this refeeding also seems to refresh the sensitivity of autophagic triggers. Just as intermittent fasting makes fed state signals more efficient, periodic carbohydrate reintroduction may prevent adaptive resistance to fasting-like conditions, ensuring that each low-carb phase continues to produce meaningful metabolic benefits. This cycling model is also neurologically supportive. The brain thrives on metabolic rhythm. It uses glucose preferentially in high-demand moments, but benefits from ketones and autophagic cleanup during periods of low insulin. By alternating fuel sources through controlled carb intake, the brain experiences both energy and clarity, avoiding the brain fog often reported during extended ketogenic phases. And on a psychological level, periodic carb reintroduction can improve dietary adherence, reduce feelings of restriction, and allow for greater enjoyment of whole food carbs like fruits, sweet potatoes, and quinoa without disrupting long-term goals. At its core, intermittent carbohydrate intake mimics the ecological and biological patterns our ancestors likely faced. In the wild, nutrient availability fluctuated with season, activity, and circumstance. Our cellular machinery evolved to expect these shifts and to respond with adaptations that promote survival, efficiency, and renewal. Carb cycling is a modern interpretation of this ancient rhythm, one that speaks fluently to our cells in the language of ebb and flow. Through this lens, autophagy is not viewed as something to activate constantly but cyclically. It is a tool of balance, not extremity. When paired with thoughtful nutrient timing and intermittent carbohydrate intake, it becomes part of a broader metabolic symphony, one that clears out what's no longer needed while building what's required for growth. And in doing so, it allows us not only to survive metabolic stress, but to thrive in its wake.